Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. Saskatchewan is reporting 4 new cases of COVID-19. 2 of those are in the Northwest Zone. That is the region that includes Lloydminster and North Battleford. The other 2 are in the Southwest Zone. 154 cases are active, 25 of those are in our zone. 7 people are in hospital, 4 of those in intensive care. 1,410 people have recovered. The Canadian Association of Fairs and Exhibitions is requesting $74 million in funding from the federal government to support fairs and ag societies across the country, including the Lloyd-X. Eric Bay has more on the challenges ag societies have faced from COVID-19.
While many businesses like restaurants have been allowed to reopen at half capacity, the Lloyd-X has remained mainly closed to the public since mid-March. With most of its revenue coming from hosting nearly 900 events in a normal year, COVID restrictions have kept the Lloyd-X's staple events from happening.
Of course, some of our bigger signature events are things like the Lloyd-X and the CKSA championships where, we bring in large crowds, and of course, that's what our main revenue generators are. But we have not brought in any revenue at all since the doors closed on March 15th, so it's been really difficult for us to continue to operate.
The cancellation of events is something many other fairs and ag societies have had to come to terms with this year, but it's more difficult for a larger society like the Lloyd-X to stomach. The Lloyd-X owns its own building, and while empty, bills are still due.
With monthly fixed costs running us at about $125,000 a month, of course, it doesn't take long for our reserves to deplete. And so, like I said, it's just been really difficult. Like I said, just needing to maintain that certain level of operations, but like I said, having no means of bringing any money.
Mayor Gerald Albers spoke on the issue Monday, saying he's very concerned about the difficulties the Lloyd-X is facing.
So we'll continue to support their initiatives as best as we can and support them, be at lobbying the government for support and things like that. It's certainly challenging for any nonprofit organization, and an ag society is an example, where the Lloyd-X hosts multiple events, sometimes within one day, as we know, with their facilities. So they've been challenged greatly.
Saskew says she hopes restrictions will be relaxed to allow the Lloyd-X to host small gatherings with distance between guests, which will give the X a revenue stream. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Midwest Fresh Produce has partnered with other local producers to provide a virtual farmers market that gives residents the chance to have fresh local food delivered right to their door. Jace Mackey chatted with Midwest Produce to get the details.
So I'm joined today with Whitney and Warren from Midwest Fresh Produce. We're here to talk a bit about their business and a new virtual kind of farmers market that's happening. So thank you guys for taking some time to talk with me today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
Now, I know you guys spoke with us here at Primetime Local News before, but for the people who maybe haven't caught that or don't know about you guys, can you just tell me a little bit about Midwest Fresh Produce?
Okay, so Midwest Fresh Produce is a combined vertical farming facility that utilizes aquaponics. We also have seasonal outdoor growing, but the aquaponic facility is one of a kind. It utilizes fish, nutrification, and plants in an ecosystem to establish healthy, pesticide-free, herbicide-free ecosystem that makes everything taste great and readily available.
And so now that you guys are kind of partnering with some other local places to kind of put on this virtual farmers market, can you guys just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we saw a need to provide more than just our own produce to our local community. Lots of people were asking for things that we weren't growing in our greenhouse. So we've reached out to our local members of our community and had lots of partnerships that have come from that. So we supply farm fresh beef, dairy, eggs, of course, all of our own produce, lots of seasonal garden items. And we really just aim to provide Lloydminster with a fresh, local, online grocery delivery that people can order all year round and get subscribed to and earn loyalty points, and then just get their groceries easiest through us.
So what was it like to be able to go out to those other local producers and be able to partner with them? Were they eager to partner with you guys?
Well, we're in a farming community, so it's happened fairly naturally. Like our beef producers 5 kilometers down the road, our egg lady is maybe 10. And then we did have to go a little bit further to get some things like honey and coffee. And we've got a really neat partnership with someone out of Saskatoon for cheese. They're actually one of Saskatoon's only raw cheese facilities. So we're kind of trying to find unique products as well. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We've learned a lot about different businesses too.
And what has the reaction from your customers been like? Because I know when you guys started, it was kind of your own produce and stuff. And now that you're able to expand to provide, local products that are a lot, there's the beef, there's cheese, like you mentioned. What are some of your customers saying?
Well, basically, some things that customers are saying is that it's more of a one-stop shop. It's easier to get a hold of some things, which makes sense. They're also pretty happy with things like burgers and our honey. I love honey, and even salad dressings, things like that. I mean, everything is all come together and combined. It seems to really help, and everybody is very happy with the products. They're happy to be working together, and as a community, I've noticed that, we've noticed everybody really seems excited to just be able to work together. And that really is the big picture here.
And the reason that I kind of wanted to talk with you today, the first thing I saw on Facebook was that you guys are expanding kind of your delivery and where you guys are delivering to over the past weeks and stuff. Can you just talk a little bit about the delivery service you provide and what communities you guys are servicing?
Oh, yeah. So we are not a super Hillmont, the North Bend, which is where we are, Sandy Beach and Lloydminster, and we've got pickup and delivery options there as well. So there's lots of free ways to get your product delivered to you or meet us. On Fridays, we do a delivery route that starts in Maidstone and actually goes all the way to Saskatoon. So anyone along that route, North Battleford, Peyton, Maymont, they're able to reach out to us and get their products delivered as well. And we are looking at expanding a little bit in that area to provide some like an Alcurve or something like that. So it's really just where the customers are. If they let us know they want our order, we're pretty open about getting it to them.
Yep, exactly. If you guys need it, we're here to help.
And as we go into the winter, and some people are, don't have their garden and some other fresh produce, are you guys still going to be keeping up with providing people stuff even during the winter months?
Absolutely. We've consistently delivered every week since March, and we have no plans on canceling deliveries or even taking a week off. We run on a weekly cycle, and it's every single Thursday and Friday we deliver. So we're here all year round.
And for people who are interested in just looking to see what you have and then possibly placing an order, what's the best place for them to go and just look at your guys' business?
Our website has all the information to order, subscribe, and learn more about our products. That would be www.midwestfresh.net. We are quite active on Facebook and Instagram as well, and our customer service can be, you can access our customer service through either of those platforms. There is a number on the website to call as well. If online ordering is just too difficult for you or not something you're comfortable doing, we do phone orders as well.
Well, thanks for talking with me, guys. And before we go, is there anything else you want to add and let people know about?
In addition to our online store, we've been pretty proud to partner with some local AG foods, and you can get a select offering of our products, our lettuce, herbs, and leafy greens there as well. And we feel like that's another good way to partner with community businesses, because AG foods are generally local grocery stores, so we do that as well.
Well, that's awesome, and thanks for taking some time to talk with me today, guys. It's great to speak with a local business here in Lloydminster that's providing fresh produce to the community.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we're Connor Chan. We'll take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thank Thanks very much, Jasmine. Another warm day for us here in Lloydminster, 25 degrees, a little bit more cloud coverage. That humidity, though, over 50% right now. You can definitely feel it. Does feel like it is expecting some showers really soon, which is the case because we could see that in the next couple of days here. But definitely a little bit more of a humid day compared to yesterday. But that heat still playing a big factor there at that 25-degree mark. So taking a look at temperatures around the area right now. 25 degrees also for Vermilion and Edmonton. 23 out in Vegreville with 26 degrees in Bonnyville and in Cold Lake as well. Provost is sitting at 26 as well. Macklin at 28 degrees right now, along with Maidstone, and Green Lake sitting at 30 right now, with Meadow Lake at St. Walburg sitting at 26 right now, and North Battleford sitting currently right now at 29 degrees. So here's a look at satellite radar map right now. Lots of activity in that Edmonton area from earlier this afternoon into right now as well, as they could be seeing some showers heading into tomorrow as well, and cloud coverage as well as up in that Cold Lake area, as we see some flashes of some cloud coverage and precipitation possibly coming the way in the coming days or so. But as we take a look right now with North Battleford overnight, 14 degrees overnight with some cloud coverage tomorrow. At still a very warm day though, nonetheless, at 29 degrees, so a little bit more humid there out in North Battleford for tomorrow. Cold Lake 14 degrees overnight with some sun and clouds here tomorrow for Cold Lake at that high of 25 degrees. Now for us here in Lloydminster, we could see some showers tomorrow. I know Edmonton, I mentioned they could see that possibly in the evening tomorrow, but we could see showers first off there, possibly some thunder showers for tomorrow as well. Some cloud coverage overnight sitting at 14 degrees, but that's what we could see for the daytime tomorrow. Is a lot of thunder showers expected there, and that could carry over into Friday as well with that high of 19 degrees. We drop down a significant amount there back to 19 degrees there, and then 23 degrees back for Saturday with some sun and a bit of cloud coverage there as we get back to somewhat normal temperatures, excuse me, there. But we could see possibly maybe up to 4, maybe 5 millimeters of rain expected for Thursday, and then maybe a little less there for Friday. That's a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after this.
Welcome back. Residents could see more farm equipment on the highways as harvest is underway in the province. Connor Chan has some reminders for drivers to keep drivers and farmers safe.
Well, joining me today is Tyler McMurtry, the Manager of Media Relations for SGI. Tyler, first off, thanks a lot for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, of course, it is harvest season. Farmers are out on the highways transporting all those goods and equipment across the highway in Saskatchewan. So what are some tips for drivers to make sure that they keep themselves and the farmers safe?
Well, really what we want to do is make sure that people share the roads with farmers and understand that farmers are going to be just moving their equipment very briefly from field to field. And we want other drivers to exercise patience, understanding that farm equipment is slow moving. It might not have the ability to signal intentions, that sort of thing. So we want people to exercise that patience and understanding for the farmers who are just trying to move their vehicles from point A to point B.
How important is it to create awareness for drivers on this particular subject matter?
Very important, especially when you're dealing with, an agricultural province like the one we live in. We are going to see farm equipment on the road from time to time here in Saskatchewan and in Alberta and Manitoba, across the prairies. It's just really important for us to understand that those are the people that help keep our agricultural economy moving. And we want to do what we can to make sure that they get where they're going safely. And of course, we don't want to cause any collisions as well as drivers, because when you're dealing with very large pieces of farm equipment, it's not something that drivers want to be involved in. Fortunately, the number of collisions that we see on a yearly basis is not huge, but it does happen, and it happens throughout the year, interestingly enough, although this is the time of year where we do see those collision numbers bump up a bit.
What are some of the stats that you could share with us, Tyler, about those farm vehicle and then driver vehicle collisions?
In 2019, we saw 23 collisions involving farm equipment on our public highways. And we also saw from those collisions, 8 people injured, and unfortunately 2 people lost their lives. Over the past 3 years, we have seen 2 to 3 people unfortunately killed in collisions with farm equipment each year. So it is something that we want drivers to be aware of, especially during this time of year when it's harvest for many agriculture producers, or it will be soon, and they will be moving their equipment from field to field and using our public highways to do so. So for the drivers who encounter farm equipment, we want them to just understand that they just need to exercise a bit of caution, a bit of patience, stay back, give them plenty of room, understand that they might not be able to signal their intentions and they're going to be slow moving, but they're not going to be on the highway for long. So exercising that patience, giving them room is a really great place to start.
Has there been many complaints from farmers about drivers kind of speeding past them or not following those tips that you gave earlier, as well as should drivers treat this like it's a first responder or a tow truck out on the highway?
I mean, it might be a little bit different with, first responders and tow truck operators who are actually working at roadside, whereas farmers are only on the roadside generally for a brief period of time. So drivers are able to go around them. But we do want drivers to be cautious when they do go around, because again, farmers might not be able to signal their intentions. So if they're about to turn left into an upcoming field, just as you're pulling around to pass them, that can be a situation where a collision can occur. So it's just one of those things you need to look at the road ahead. Where is the farmer likely going to be going? And if they're going to be turning left into that field coming up, maybe just hold off on passing them for a bit. And that's why being patient is so important.
And lastly, Tyler, if anyone wants more information, where can they go and find it?
I mean, we really encourage them to check out the SGI website at any time, of course. Lots of tips on sharing the road with farm equipment and anything else you might encounter on the road. So if you go to sgi.sk.ca or follow us on any of our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, we'll be sharing tips about taking care out there.
Tyler, I really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot for joining us again.
Now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Taking a look right now at temperatures right now, 25 degrees in Lloydminster and Edmonton still right now, as we are still seeing that humidity still playing a factor right now in our weather right now. 23 in Rocky Mountain House and in Red Deer, 24 for Whitecourt and in Edson, 27 degrees, out in Jasper as we move over up into Cold Lake and Meadow Lake, both sitting at 27 degrees. As we take a look further east in Saskatoon, sitting at 31 degrees, Prince Albert and Melfort both sitting at 30 degrees right now. Now, as we take a look at the northern areas right now, 24 in La Loche and Buffalo Narrows and La Ronge is what we currently see right now. 23 for Flin Flon, and then a little bit still under that 20 degree mark in that Wollaston Lake, South End, Stony Rapids, and Uranium City areas. And as we take a look into northern Alberta right now, 22 in Peace River and Slave Lake with high level. Fort McMurray, sitting at 25 degrees. Grand Prairie sitting at 23, along with Fort Chipeway. Now, as we take a look right now into southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, still continuing to be very hot spots across the country. 31 in Lethbridge, 30 in Medicine Hat right now, 26 for Calgary, and then 28 for Coronation with 29 degrees out in Banff. Over in the southern Saskatchewan areas, of course, is where the heat we've seen a lot of it last couple of days. 35 for Moose Jaw and Regina, 37 right now out in Estevan, 32 in Kindersley and in Swift Current and Yorkton. And here's what we see across the country. Clouds in Regina and showers currently right now in Edmonton. I did talk about that earlier, as they are seeing some of that precipitation coverage from the satellite radar map as well. And then 29 degrees out in Winnipeg with some sun and a little bit of cloud coverage. A little bit cooler as we see into Quebec City at 18. Toronto at 22 right now with a little bit of sun and clouds there. Much more cloud coverage in Halifax at 22, and St. John's with the sun and cloud mix sitting at 19 degrees. Yellowknife sitting at 15 right now with some showers, and then 17 degrees out in Whitehorse, and then 24 degrees right now in Vancouver with some cloud coverage. Now, as we take a look at temperatures, what we could see tomorrow, we could see some showers tomorrow, possibly some thunder showers. There's still a 40% chance, but we still could see that, and then it could possibly carry over into Friday with the showers there. But 26 tomorrow is our expected daytime high. for us here in Lloydminster, as well as in Vermilion and Marwayne and Bonnyville. 25 degrees for Cold Lake tomorrow, 24 in St. Paul and Vegreville, and 23 for Edmonton tomorrow. Provost sitting at 30 degrees tomorrow, Macklin at 31, and North Battleford at 29 degrees tomorrow, with Meadow Lake and Green Lake also sitting at that 26-degree mark as well. Now, as we take a look at the next 7 days, of course, I did mention showers are a possibility for the next couple of days. 26 degrees for Thursday, and then 19 degrees for Friday with some showers expected there. 23 on Saturday as we start to get a little bit more sun and get a little bit warmer compared to Friday, as we are just shy of that 20-degree mark. So 23 on both Saturday and Sunday with fairly equal days in terms of sun and cloud coverage, and then 23 as well for Monday with the same results there from Sunday, and then 19 degrees on Tuesday with increased cloud coverage, and as well as heading into Wednesday as well with that high at 20, but both days with a 30% chance we could see some showers, averaging around that 23-degree mark, so we're kind of around that ballpark there, and averaging around 10 for our low. Let's look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Joining me today is Nick Verberg, the head mentor coach for Explosion Cheer Academy. How are you today?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very good. So what exactly is this academy all about?
So what Explosion is trying to do is they've got a pretty well-established gymnastics program there, and what they're trying to do is they're just trying to expand into the cheerleading world. It's really, really common for a gymnast to either train both at the same time, or as gymnastics is like a really early specialization sport, you get a lot of times kids are kind of they're retiring younger, and cheerleading's a great sport for people from gymnastics to retire into. They've got a lot of the same skill sets, a lot of the cross-training elements that are really helpful. So it's a really easy transition for people. And what they're trying to do is just offer that opportunity for people, for both their gymnasts that are looking for something more, or the retired gymnasts, or for people that maybe gymnastics isn't for them, but they still want to be in the gym.
And what ages are you guys exactly looking for people to register?
The mini, so they're looking for a mini age, a youth age, and a junior team. So that's anyone from age 5 to 17. So it's a pretty good, solid age range. So yeah, there's lots of opportunity there.
And could you kind of explain exactly how for people to register for this academy?
Yeah, their best option would be just to reach out to Explosion Gymnastics. They've done their preliminary placements, but anyone that wants to be a part of it, there's still going to be opportunity there. The way that it works more or less is you'd come in, you'd meet the coaches, and they'll just do a quick assessment of your skill level, so that you can be placed on a team that's obviously appropriate for your age for the division, but also appropriate to your skills and experience.
Okay, and for people that want to know, are they able to still register for any of the teams at this moment?
Yeah, I'm sure they are, yeah.
And how is it continuing these teams during COVID-19? Like what's things that you guys have had to change for like safety precautions?
Yeah, that's definitely the most common question. So every province is doing it a little bit differently. Obviously Lloydminster, they've got 2 provinces to think about, but the way that the Saskatchewan Cheerleading Association is going with it is there's definitely some limitations on what you can do. Alberta, there are too. For Saskatchewan, which is where they're registered, is because there's obviously a contact element of cheerleading, but instead of having an entire team commingling together or whatever, what you're doing is you're setting groups of people that stays the same consistently across the whole season. And as we have people come in and train, you keep a log of who's been in contact with who, and there's limits on how long you spend in contact. Obviously, distancing is the primary thing, especially at the beginning. You're spending most of the time doing like the conditioning part and the tumbling elements, which is an individual skill. There's no worry about contact there. And when you are sticking to contact, you're doing everything you can to keep that as minimal as possible, the way that other sports are, the way that people obviously come into contact with each other when they play soccer or hockey or those kinds of things. So it's about mitigating as much risk as possible. With that, there's things like, so in cheerleading, there's stunting, where you have 4 people working together to lift, and then there's also pyramids, where you have the whole team kind of putting things together. And right now, pyramids aren't a thing, so there's no pyramid, so we keep that limit down to just like one person's in contact with 3 other people. That's it all year. Other things like when the coaches, you minimize spotting. So a lot of times before all this happened, you would spend a lot of time hands-on coaching, kind of helping kids through shapes and things like that. And we've all, like in gymnastics as well, you've minimized that as much as possible. So coaches are spending as little time as possible with actual contact. Mask wearing, obviously, where possible. You don't want to be wearing a mask if you're doing like hardcore intense cardio, because that has its own risks. But wherever possible, masks are used, frequent hand washing, all those basics as well.
That's really good to hear, honestly. And has the Explosion Academy received lots of support in the past from residents?
Yeah, my understanding is that I was introduced to Explosion in the spring, so like right at the beginning of the COVID thing. So I've been working with them since then. I know that they're pretty well established in that facility, obviously the only one in Lloydminster. And we had 28 kids come out to our first training last weekend, or this most recent weekend, which is great. You really only need 5 people to start to do a team. And having 28 aged, like I think the youngest was 6 and the oldest was 15 or 16. That's a lot of support, especially in a smaller town. So yeah, for sure.
And is there anything else you'd like to add for residents to know during this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that obviously there's a little bit of, in regards to maybe trying something new, especially when you're not sure even what normal would look like, how you would recognize changes in a sport. But I'm a member of Cheer Canada, and I've been a part of Cheer Manitoba as well. And I know that I'm familiar with the Saskatchewan Cheerleading Association and the Alberta Cheerleading Association, and they're all doing everything that they possibly can to keep a great sport that is very welcoming, very inclusive, very accessible to people, and make it still safe. So obviously those little bits of fears and starting something new totally makes sense, but there are a lot of people doing everything that they can. And the best thing about cheerleading is when it comes to whether you're a new athlete or an older athlete and you're trying to, even an elite athlete, is cheerleading's prided itself globally on inclusivity and accessibility. A couple of great examples of the fact that when the national teams compete, so when Team Canada competes against Team USA, they actually have it the same day as the para cheer and the special abilities cheer. It's all at the same time at the World Championships. There's masters divisions. There's you can do the beginner levels at any age. Cheerleading's done an amazing job of making sure that no matter who you are, your body type, your shape, your experience, your athletic ability, your commitment to a sport, that there is an option for you in cheerleading. So so that means whether you're a football player or a curler or you like chess, it doesn't matter what your history is. There's a way that you can kind of become a part of the sport, which is a great way for people to kind of try something new, knowing that there's always going to be an option for them.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nick, and best of luck to the Academy in the future.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm joined here with MJ Preston, and he is an Edmonton author. Now, MJ, you released your newest novel, 4, back in February, which is the second in the Highwaymen series. Can you give a bit of background into the first novel?
The first novel it was kind of the kickoff to the series, and a lot of people think that, oh, I'm going to be writing something like a Dexter or something like that, and it's not. Basically what it is, it's a police procedural crime series. The first 2 books envelop one story, but the intention is after that, these 2 books, when the next book comes out, the one I'm working on, it will be many of the same characters, so interchangeable characters in the same theme, which is basically, like I say, a police procedural, a crime thriller. The first book is about a serial killer named Lance Bellinger, and he wants to be the best serial killer ever. He wants to be, and he has all the resources. He's rich. He's inherited quite a bit of money, and the FBI is having a heck of a time finding him because he doesn't leave any trace evidence, no DNA, no nothing. So basically the first book is the build-up, and it covers the course of about 8 years, and that is how Lance advances a serial killer from his first fledgling kill. The second book takes place over the course of about 3 to 4 weeks. So it's a much faster run, and that's what 4 is. And that's the rundown of chasing the highwayman down. So.
Yeah, so for someone who's read the first book and they're looking to read the second, that's more of what they can expect. They can expect it's going to be faster paced, but still searching for it.
Yes, Highwayman is a little bit slower of a burn because there's a lot more detail into his genesis and how he evolves as a serial killer. As I say, he starts out, he kills a single mom and her toddler child to start out, but they don't attach the crime to him. But that is when he decides to go down the path of serial murder, and he evolves to the point where he's on the FBI's most wanted list.
And your books have elements of what you actually do in them, which is, full-time, you're truck driving, you're doing your other job. So why was it important for you to feature these themes in your writings?
Well, write what you know, right? And that's the deal. And everything that I've done, there is some element of either me personally in it or something that I've done. My first book, The Equinox, was set in the prairies near Manitoba, Brandon, Manitoba. And that's when I served in the military there. So that was, at that time, I was writing what I know. My second book, Acadia Event, I went up to the ice roads and ran 3 seasons as an ice road trucker, and I just absorbed everything I saw there. The third and fourth book, I decided to become a serial killer. No, just kidding. The third and fourth book was really the element that is very true to who I am. Is I trucked all over the United States as a long haul trucker. So all of those places, all of those body dumps, all of those areas that you go in the book and investigations, I've been there. And I have a rock solid alibi, so there's no way anybody can put it on me. So I think it's important. I mean, you have to do that. I also had to do an awful lot of research too, which entailed reading tons and tons of books, police reports, FBI reports. And I'm sure somebody out there could probably take me to task for something technical, of course, but it was a lot of work, and this is what we have.
Well, that sounds awesome. And, even throughout the pandemic, you have been working full time. So has this had an effect on your writing at all?
Well, it's had an effect in that I was all lined up for a signing, and then the bottom fell out of the world. But you do what you can do, and like I say, I like a lot of writers, I still have a day job, and the day job entails working in the. We provide fuel to the northern territories and whatnot, and that's considered an essential service. So that's what I do. Generally, I work in the training aspect of it now. I don't truck anymore. But I didn't get no serve, and I didn't get to sit home, and I'm still out here, and I'm slugging it out for you guys. So buy my book.
Now, your books also have a lot of elements of horror in them. Where did that inspiration come from?
I've always had a love affair with the horror story ever since I was a kid, and of course, I was hugely influenced by writers like Stephen King, like Robert R. McCammon. Guys that are out there today, Jonathan Mayberry. I love that genre for this reason. You can do anything you want in a horror genre. You can make the sky rain blood. You can have some primordial ooze come out of the ground. You can have, anything. You can massacre 1,000 people in one page. and that's fun. And of course, it's not real, but it's just a great place to play around in when you're a writer.
Where can people get the book?
Well, they can come to my website, mjpreston.net, or they can shoot down to Wild Blue Press. That's my publisher. They're a big true crime publisher, but they also carry a lot of fiction. And so they can go to wildbluepress.com, or they can come and see me. Check me out on Facebook, MJ Preston something or other. Just look me up and look for my face, and there I am. I'm on all the social media. One thing too, for Canadians who are apprehensive about ordering off Amazon, you can also go into your local chapters. You can't get it on the shelf in there, but you can order it in if you want to do that, or go to Indigo.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, MJ.
Well, hey, it's been great.
Thanks for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.